Hello everyone, I want to welcome you back to Simply Fujica. It has been quite a minute, I do know, and so we have a lot to talk about today. If this is the first time that you're visiting my channel, I do want to thank you and welcome you. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel and me as I've been absent the last few months. So I'm going to be honest with you. I have a lot to talk to you about today. Because I respect your time so much, I am going to put chapters in the video description. That way you can fast forward to today's content. However, I do have a lot of updates to share with you, so I do hope that you are patient with me. Before we go any further, do not forget to like this video, do not forget to subscribe, and then hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video. With that being said, let's get started. I cannot believe this is the first video that I'm publishing this year and it is already March. So I am hoping that your new year is off to a fantastic start. I really hope that you all have some updates for me in terms of starting your agencies, getting started with your licensing applications, all of those things that you tune into this channel. Because for me, that's when I feel most blessed, is through your success stories. So make sure that you share them in the comment section below. The next thing I want to talk about is where I have been. And this is such a long answer. The first thing that I wanted to share with you all is, unfortunately, I did have a death in the family. This was someone who was very close to our family. And so you all know, when someone that's close to you passes away, you become a new person. You have to kind of create that new normal. And so for me, I really just kind of shut down and went within to my family and with my close friends. And so for a while, I really didn't want to create any new content just because I wanted to make sure that all of my time was more invested in my family. And making sure that everyone was okay. So I do want to thank you for those of you who did know what was going on. The supportive emails, supported text messages actually really did mean quite a lot. So I just want to thank you so much for checking in on me and making sure that I'm okay. And I am okay, absolutely. So thank you so much again for supporting me during that time. The next big thing that happened while I've been gone is, for those of you who know, I had relocated going on 2 years ago now. And initially I was still traveling back and forth to keep my kids in the same school district and to make sure I didn't interrupt their education. But over a year, about a year and a half doing that, I got a little sick of the commute. So I actually did change the kids' school district to be more aligned with where we live. So for my youngest son, I realized, and this is where I need the moms to chime in, I realized quite quickly that the school that he had, even though we were so excited to go there, we were so excited to make new friends, to learn about what this school district had to offer, it just didn't seem like it was a fit for my youngest son. Well, to be quite honest, because I know that some of you may be going through the same thing with your children, it wasn't until I was unhappy that I started finding more parents who were going through similar struggles. I really had to figure out what to do with him. I know that most of you know that education tends to be one size fits all. And if your child does not fit into that one size fit all mode, then it's harder to form a partnership with that school district. For me, it was harder to form a partnership with that school. And so really quickly I knew I needed to pull him out because I didn't want him to be impacted by all the policies, all of the processes that really didn't address what was happening, right? So for him, what I decided to do, and I will have to say this, I did call the district one day, actually before Thanksgiving, just out of sheer frustration. And I spoke to someone who really asked me, who up front, maybe he could sense it in my voice, I'm not sure, but you know, his question to me is, what's going on, Mom? And that allowed me, because he approached the conversation in that way, it allowed me to break down and let him know I didn't feel I was being supported. I didn't feel like my son was being supported. Neither myself or my husband wanted our son to be over-policied. And so, but once I was able to express that, this person was able to share with me what my options were. And so after Christmas now, because it took this long to apply through things, to, it's just a whole process associated with this. I know we think, hey, this is my child, I'm pulling him out. But remember, you got to make sure that you have favorable attendance. You got to make sure they're making progress in their academics. You can't just snatch them out of school. And so, after Christmas, at the beginning of the new year, my son started in an online school, similar to what all of our children were experiencing during the pandemic. And he has been happy ever since. So now the question is, do I keep him in an online environment, or do I allow him to go to middle school? Because next year will be the first year that he goes to middle school. His vote is to stay at home. But of course, my concern now is the social aspect of it, making sure that he's making friends, that he is that he's socializing with kids that are his age instead of being home with mom and dad all day. So, there's of course pros and cons to everything. But of course, my priority was making sure that he transitioned well to an online environment, that he was keeping up with his studies, that I knew what the expectations were for him being in a new environment. And so, as you can tell, that did take some time. So all is well with there, but I really want to hear from the moms out there. Have you had similar experiences where you just felt as though your children were not being supported in the right way, or how you would have expected to receive support from your school or district? I would love to hear. I would love for you all to sound off in the comments. If you have any questions for me, I would love you to send me a direct message. Because of course I have learned a lot during this time, and I would love to share what I've learned with you. But if you're having those types of concerns, definitely pray. But just know that you do have options. So the important thing is to understand what those options are. The last item that I wanted to share with you is I just needed a break. And this is just me being honest. I really felt with all that was happening with my personal life, trying to ensure that my son was getting the education he deserved, having another son starting high school, still running a business. I think I've shared with you all before, I'm starting a non-medical home care agency in the state of Arizona. I just feel like, there was just parts of me that felt like, wait a minute, what about Fujica? And I really want to be vulnerable for a moment and share that with you, because I think when we look on Instagram, when we look at YouTube, we see all the traveling and the money that's coming in and all of the good stuff. But there is a sacrifice. Anytime you want to do something and you want to do it well, there has to be sacrifice involved in order for you to see it bloom. And so I wanted to be honest with you and be transparent and say, not all that you see is golden. Not all that you see is perfect. There has to be a level of accountability. And for me, it was being accountable to myself, my children, and my family. So thank you for listening to that. I know that you're not used to hearing these types of things from me, but I want to be honest. I would love to sit here and tell you that running a business is all fun all the time, but it's not. Now, with all that being said, is it worth it? Absolutely, absolutely. Even through the whole time that I've been going through these things with my family, I was in such a state of humbleness and gratefulness. I kept thanking God for the fact that my schedule is flexible, and the fact that I can be at home to educate my son. I was just thinking about this. If this was even just 3 years ago, I wouldn't be at home for my son in order to educate him. So this is a blessing, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to not view it as that. Certainly that's a blessing, right? So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you so much for listening. The next thing that I want to talk to you all about is some channel updates. Something that I had to be honest with myself about is my ability to continue to create content for you, and content that you all enjoy. I think you can tell, at least for me, people that I subscribe to and people that I watch their videos a lot, I can tell if their energy is good, if it's not so good, if they're really into it. So when I go before the camera and you turn a video on of mine, I want you to see that I'm in it. I want you to see that I'm invested in what I'm saying to you, what I'm delivering to you. And so for that, I really do try to be at my best when I come before you. So in order for me to do that, I'm thinking that I will be doing new videos once a week. And those videos will be published on Wednesdays. Every other weekday other than that, I will be posting a short that hopefully will be packed with information and just really tips and tricks that you can use in your agencies and just in life. It's not just, the thing that I've learned in this period is, yes, our work is a lot of what makes us up, but it's not who we are, right? So I want to share more content with you in terms of who I am. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments if you're enjoying the new content, if you're enjoying the shorts. If you have a request for a video topic, make sure you put that information in the comments, and I will of course try to build that out for you. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is service updates. As always, you can go onto my website, which is simplyfujica.com, and check out my service offerings there. However, because I think the biggest question that I'm getting is, when is your next class? And so I'm happy to say that my next class will be Friday, June 7th. Now this time it will be a 4-week class, and I'll talk to that in just a moment. As you all know, I have kicked off classes 2 times now. And from those 2 classes, I can tell you they were so different. I'm realizing now that I really and truly have 2 types of students that reach out to me as it relates to needing assistance with their license. So the first type of student that comes to me is someone who's really passionate. They've been in the agency, maybe they've been in the agency as a nurse assistant, maybe they've been a CNA, they could be an LVN, they could be an RN, but they have industry experience, and they really want to start their home care agents, their non-medical home care agencies. They just need help with the licensing requirements. Some of you have looked at the licensing requirements. It looks like a different language to you, and so you need someone to help you put your licensing materials together. If that is the case, then you want to sign up for my June 7th class. The June 7th class is specific to anyone wanting to start the non-medical home care agency journey. Does not matter the state that you want to be in. Of course, I'm in California, so I have those qualifications and all those things down. What I love about the course is, for 4 weeks, we talk about those things that those questions you have for me. How do I market my agency? Now that I'm waiting for licensing and I've submitted my license, what should I be doing? How do I stand up my agency? What documents should I be using? These are the topics that we go over together as a class. Behind the scenes, I'm helping you actually execute your licensing requirements. But then there's another type of student that reaches out to me, and this person is the person who's like, yeah, I know the industry, I know what I need to do with my business, I know what I need to do, I'm on fire, I just need my license. Can you help me with my license? So for that type of person, I don't recommend the course. You just need licensing guidance. And so I have created another product that is just that. So I will have links for both services in the video description. In terms of the class, right now you're just showing interest. I have not started enrollment. So you can just express interest, and then as soon as I start enrollment, I will reach out to those groups of people who have registered beforehand. And then for those of you who just need licensing assistance, you can reach out to me anytime for that. That link will be in the video description. But that's not all I have, you all. I have some pre-recorded classes out there. I mean, really, you want to check out my website so you can see all the things that I've had. I have tried to keep all types of budgets in mind as I've created my service offerings and products. So I would really love for you to go out and support me there. I have a couple of free items there for you. So really just go out there and check it out and see what we have. The last thing that I have that I'm super excited for is something that I had on my vision board. Is I am writing my first book. Now, I don't want to give out too much information. Definitely, I will have more to come on this one. I just wanted to get it on your radar. So those are all of my updates. Let's transition to today's topic. So today's topic is, and the first video that I do for every year is, it is a new year, right? We are in 2024. I want to start my non-medical home care agency. What should I do? Well, I'm kind of glad you asked. The first thing that I believe that you should do if you're starting your non-medical home care agency is you definitely want to know the regulations in your state. And the reason why I say that is you want to know what you can do as a non-medical home care agency, right? So you want to know if you have to be licensed. If you're in a regulated state, do you have to be licensed or not? There are only 4 states where you do not need licensing. You want to make sure that you know whether you need to be licensed or not. After you know that, you have to know the regulations. What can you do as a non-medical home care agency? Because there's going to be a lot of things that your client may come to you with, and you're not able to do that. And so I have had some clients come to me and they have started with their non-medical home care agency just to kind of get things started, and then they go back to become licensed. So I have seen people do that. I've had people say, well, no, I know the clients that I'm going to service. I need to make sure that I'm a medical home care agency versus non-medical. Listen, it's totally up to you and what your service offerings are. But that first thing you want to understand is, what are the regulations of my home state? That will help you understand the type of agency that you're going to be running so that you can put that action plan together. The second thing that I have for you, and this is so serious, is you have got to understand how you're going to pay for things. So you have to understand your financial responsibility and where those funds are coming from. So I have done a video in the past in terms of how much does it cost for you to get your home care, your non-medical home care license. I will make sure that's included as a resource for you in the video description. I've also done a video on how you can fund your non-medical home care agency. So I will also include that in your resources for you. But you want to make sure whatever that plan is, that it is realistic for you. I have heard you all come to me and say, hey, listen, I don't have a savings. I don't have any money where I can pull from. What should I be doing? Well, listen, if you have a job, you have to make sure that somehow you're setting aside some type of funding, right? Because remember, I have shared with you all that I still had a job when I was going through my first home care agency. I was working, and so as I was working, I was setting aside money from those paychecks. After I took care of my priorities, of course, I set aside just a little bit of money just to make sure that I had some funds. I could work with something as I went throughout the process. You know, maybe you don't have your full licensing fee, but maybe you have, you know, hey, I'm doing, with this pay period, I can go get my fingerprints. With this pay period, I can do this. With this pay, you know, sometimes you kind of have to string it along to make it a necklace, right? And so I have had to do that too. That happens to the best of us. But remember, it's your passion that's going to keep fueling you as you go through that process of getting licensed, right? So you want to make sure that you have some type of budget. Some type of, first of all, figure out what that total number is for you, like I did in that video that I said with you, and then kind of working backwards to front, how am I going to take care of some of these expenses, okay? Reference that video that I was telling you about so that you can put together your plan. The third tip that I have for you is create a plan. I think everyone should have a business plan. These are one of the courses that I do have, and I will make sure that's in the video description. I wanted to point out, because I have where you can just get the business plan or you can take the course. My recommendation is that you take the course, because if you do that, you get the course and the business plan. Sometimes people are like, I'm fine, I just need the template, and so that's why they show up as 2 different services, but because they're the same price, wink wink, I suggest you take the class so that you can get the template. But the reason why I say you need to do your business plan is because a lot of the questions that I get, where am I going to get my clients? How many home care aides am I going to need to start off with? How I'm going to market for my clients? A lot of those questions that some of you come to me with, if you put together a good business plan, that's where your answers are going to come from, right? I can certainly talk through those things with you, but instead of paying me that hourly rate, you can do the research and do you can do the research and develop your own answers, right? So I always just suggest, if you can self-serve, you do that. It's certainly cheaper that way. And it's, part of you knowing your business and being successful at running your business is knowing the ins and outs of it, right? So this is part of it. It's really becoming intimate with your business, the ins and outs of it. Your plan will then be the foundation of what will become your business. The other part that I want to say about developing a plan is there should be some type of timeline, right? Now remember, you can go onto my website to get the free checklist. And that checklist is the same one that I used when I was going through licensing. It's really just to kind of keep you in order. But in addition to that, you want to put a timeline together. And I call it a soft timeline because, listen, the best of us have to revise timelines, right? Life happens, things happen. And so sometimes you can't stay exactly at it. However, if you give yourself a timeline of 6 months, you could really start building into that 6 months what you're doing every step of the way. And so that way, this is how you can determine if you need to revise your initial timing that you put together, or if there's some ways that you can kind of speed that up. And because you've already planned your finances to go along with it, at any time you can assess if you're moving the way that you should be, or if there need to be some stark revisions that are made. My fourth and final tip for you is you have got to get started. Part of why I was really excited to do this video and to get in front of you again was to offer some type of motivation, some type of inspiration. I have been talking to my licensees, all of my home care agencies that are getting licensed, and I'm so excited to speak with them because, for me, my first question is, how are you doing, And so it's always feels so good when I'm being told, hey, we're flying, we're doing well, we're making money, right? This is what I want to hear. But then I'm also a little disappointed when I hear some of my clients who are just like, you know what? I'm ready, I'm scared. I don't want to do it. And so, I'm scared. I have all these questions. I'm so afraid to let go. Listen, I will tell you that the only difference between me and you is that I had the courage to start, okay? And so there's nothing that's special about me, other than I too was scared. I too was like, oh no, I don't want to go. Uh-oh, what if it fails? What if I'm not successful? What if I don't get any client? Listen, you'll never get a client. You'll never know if you don't start. And so even if you kind of launch slowly, you got to make sure you launch, okay? So I wanted to end the video on that note. You can do it. You absolutely can do it. If you need a little bit of assistance, I am here. I've already shared my website with you, but you can also email me at simplyfujica@yahoo.com. If you have emailed me in the last couple of months, you probably didn't get a request because I really shut everything down. I am back up now. Also, for consultations, I did mention that earlier, I will be doing my free consultations on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Those are 15 minutes long. So really that time is really to understand how I can best serve you, right? So I will be starting those Wednesdays and Thursdays. I forgot to mention that earlier. But listen, that is my last and final tip. I really enjoyed speaking with you all today. I'm so excited to be in front of you all today. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. Again, if you haven't already, don't forget to like the video. Do not forget to subscribe and then hit that bell notification so that you're notified every time I release a new video, okay? That's all I have for you guys today. Stay blessed.